Welcome once again, Flip Clock fans. We're going to do a little episode, eBay Flip Clocks. As you all know, eBay is the place to check out flip clocks, and I just want to show you some things that I've been looking at here recently. And this is at the end of January in 2019, so it's pretty dated. But here we go. This is something that started showing up recently. It's a Snoopy Peanuts Twemco flip clock. It's really cool looking. It's got the tiles, have Snoopy featured in different poses on the hours. And there are several listings right now. They just came up out of nowhere. We see that it comes in white and beige at least. And here's a really good look at it. It's the Twemco QT30. A really good quality clock and expensive. Here is the little symbol, Vintage Peanuts. You gotta love that. It's a nice looking clock, but it's pricey. These things are running from like $245 to over $300. It reminds me of this Yoshitomo Nara clock. We did a little review on this clock a while back, and a YouTube friend allowed us to use her video. And from this video clip here, you can see the size of the QT30. So this is the same model that the Snoopy Peanuts clock is in. I wouldn't expect the clock to come down in price. They tend not to. The Yoshitomo Nara clock stayed expensive and remains expensive to this day. Now, another clock that I was looking at, I thought it was kind of interesting. It's a clock, well, based on or themed about the car. I love the ones that have the different tiles and stuff like that. So I started looking at it. And I looked at the back, and that kind of reminded me of another clock that I have seen. And it's this one. It's a Chinese-made clock. I have looked at one of these before. I've had one in my hands. And you can see the back here. If you look at the back, it is exactly the same as this clock's back. So it's probably not a good quality clock, but if you're into Mini Coopers, then there you go. Now, I came across something else while I was looking, and I had recently done a video on these type clocks, the television lamp clocks. So, well, what is this? W.A. Boyle, President, United Mine Workers of America. Some dead guy on this clock. I thought, well, what's that all about? Well, it's not just some dead guy. William Anthony Tough Tony Boyle was President of the United Mine Workers of America, UMWA, from 63 to 1972. In 1969, Joseph Yablonsky challenged Boyle for the presidency. Later, after Boyle had won, he asked the United States Department of Labor to investigate the election for fraud. Subsequently, December 31, 1969, three killers shot Yablonsky, his wife, Margaret, and his 25-year-old daughter, Charlotte, as they slept in their home in Clarksville, Pennsylvania. In September 1969, UMWA Executive Council member Albert Pass received $20,000 from Boyle, who had embezzled the money from union funds to hire assassins to kill Yablonsky. On September 6, 1973, Boyle was arrested on first-degree murder charges in the deaths of Yablonsky and his family. And on April 11, 1974, Boyle was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms. On January 28, 1977, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania overturned Boyle's conviction on a technicality, but Boyle was again found guilty on February 18, 1978. He was imprisoned at the State Correctional Institute in Dallas, Pennsylvania. He eventually died May 31, 1985, at 80 years of age. The murders were portrayed in a 1986 HBO television movie, Act of Vengeance. Charles Bronson portrayed Yablonsky, and Wilford Brimley, of all people, played Boyle. So this is a pretty dark clock, if you ask me. Who would have expected to find anything like that? Now I found this, and this was really, really refreshing. It's a Penwood Federal, and it's called nicknamed the Swank. And the seller says it's in awful condition, and I love that. He just come right out and said, "Hey, this thing's in awful condition." He's probably right. And look at this clock; it's cool. It's the clearly Art Deco style. It's beat up and banged up. And then it really is called the Swank. That's what it says on the back here, the Swank. So I'm not that much into cyclometers, but I just appreciated that. Well, anyway, that was just a little look at what I've been looking at on eBay. And when you get the time, come visit us.
When you get the time, come visit us at flipclockfans.com.
This thing's in awful shape.